We got a bidet!
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are talking about the latest episode of Ahsoka, probably one of the most anticipated, episode 5. This episode was uh, so big and advertised to the point where you could go to the movie theaters and watch it. They put a lot of hype into it, to say the least. And the cliffhanger from the previous episode with Anakin here behind me, that was pretty big. We didn't know what was going to happen. Some people claim that they heard the Darth Vader music play as the episode ended, so we had wonders about what was going on with that. And I know for myself, seeing Anakin not as a Force ghost, it's kind of like, what's going on there? So I think this episode created more questions than answers, but we definitely got some answers. So we're going to go ahead, talk about the episode. Piece by piece as the episode progresses, and then just kind of talk about our thoughts along the way. So this episode, for probably the first 2/3 of the episode, has two separate storylines, and then we kind of come together at the end to, propel us in the direction of the next episode. So the beginning kind of starts off with Hera landing on the planet, trying to find where Sabine and Ahsoka are, and right when Hera's about to give up, I think it's Jason, her son, he starts having like these feelings of, something's going on here. He can hear things, and he has his mom Hera go to the edge of the cliff, close her eyes, and something's up here. They're both feeling it. That even though Sabine's helmet is laying on the ground, that maybe they can, figure some stuff out. They do find, what's his face?
The droid.
Yeah, the
Yang.
droid, Hu Yang, right? They find
Yeah.
him at the cliff edge. He's the one that's actually like holding Sabine's helmet, and Hera's like, "Where did they go?" And he goes, "They didn't listen to me. They didn't stay together." And so that's what kind of propels us to the idea that, Jason's starting to hear some weird things, and then they're led to believe that somebody is at least there. They just don't know who or what happened to them.
Yeah. And they get Carson and his boys that didn't get blown up. They get
Yeah,
him to keep sweeping over the ocean, just looking for Ahsoka.
the ones that made it off of or from the uh, ricochet or whatever you want to call it, ripple in space from Morgan and all of them when they blasted off towards the other galaxy. Um, yeah, so they're circling the ocean looking for whatever's there. And we get kind of a back and forth between the Hera stuff and the Ahsoka stuff. Um,
Well, that's where it goes next, right? Right after, we get a little, basically a Hera and everybody else, they kind of figure out what happened, or as much as they can piece together from what they can see. And then, like you said, they go up to the ocean, and then that's when we get Ahsoka. And we continue right with where we got the cliffhanger from the previous episode.
right. I don't know about you. I was kind of hoping they were going to start with the Ahsoka stuff and then start to talk about the Hera, but
Um,
there's some storytelling
I,
that they use.
I didn't mind how they did it. It was an extra 5 minutes of mystery of like, is what's going on with Ahsoka? Like, is she dead or is she, you know? Turns out,
Yeah.
kinda.
And we can expand on that here in a minute because there's lots of questions. So yeah, we do get to Ahsoka and the scene with Anakin and that we left with in the previous episode, like Austin said, and we get to start to figure out what's going on here. Ahsoka was basically like near death kind of a thing. She At this point, we don't know what has happened to her physical body yet, just that she's in the world between worlds and, her old master is here. And he is trying to teach her some lessons and wants to finish the training that they didn't get to finish before. Because if you've seen the Clone Wars, you know that Ahsoka walked away from him and left him behind. And so he wants to go ahead and finish off that training so she can be prepared for what's yet to come. Uh,
Can I
there's
ask you something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Were you just getting like bad vibes the whole time?
A little bit because the whole time I wasn't really trusting Anakin
Mm-hmm.
while this
Yeah.
was happening
Yep.
because I mean you and I talked about last week how this isn't Force Ghost Anakin, so it's not him when he's dead. And
Yep.
if he's in this being, if it's from our normal timeline, then that means he would have had to have learned about the world between worlds from somewhere. And really, the only connection that we could draw was that the Emperor knew about it, so he would have had to have told Vader at some point. But is this an Anakin from another timeline? Because it
I'm
doesn't.
still not sure.
Right. That's one of the questions that I have even at the end of this episode of, what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely didn't trust what he was up to this entire time.
Yeah. But I will tell you one thing. Do I know what it was to this moment at the end of the episode? Absolutely not. Did I love every second of it? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was some good stuff. I have some small criticisms when we get there, but uh, so yeah, Anakin basically wants to finish Ahsoka's training, and Ahsoka, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like Ahsoka is like mixed between wanting to do something about what's going on in the galaxy and not doing something about what's going on with the galaxy. She's trying to decide whether to, uh, be a part of it or not, and just kind of like be in the shadows.
Yeah, it's kind of like her inner conflict.
Right. And Anakin's basically telling her that what that's going to boil down to is whether you live or die. And if you fight, you'll
And
probably live.
that's
If you hide,
that's the lesson.
yeah, you'll probably die. And so Anakin wants to start off the lessons with a little bit of lightsaber battle stuff. And so we get a little bit of back and forth, and I didn't see this coming. Like I thought we were going to be looking at different like portals and stuff, but
Hmm.
Anakin like slices the floor and Ahsoka, falls into her first memory, so to speak. Um,
Yeah. And blue lightsaber at this point.
yes, blue lightsaber, Anakin, the hilt too, the hilt, because that was a big talking point from a lot of YouTubers last week, is people were claiming that it was Vader's hilt. No, it was Anakin's hilt from episode 3, confirmed. So yeah, blue lightsaber. The first memory that we drop into, I think it took a little bit of picking apart what the scene was to fully understand what was happening here. We get young Ahsoka, so like when she a live action version of probably very early on in the Clone Wars show, which is pretty cool. Obviously not Rosario Dawson, is a different actress.
Yeah, I think it's actually like one of the first two episodes.
Yeah,
It's like it's that early. Yeah.
right. And so at least I didn't catch that they were saying like they said it's one of our earliest battles, but I didn't catch what planet they said. But based on the species that they were fighting side by side with, my guess was Ryloth because they were Twi'leks. Is that the planet that they were on in the Clone Wars show?
I can't remember. I didn't fact check this before, but yeah. I mean, I know it's one of the episodes, but
Right. So what we get to see in this little scene is we see, General Skywalker charging, like he's in the Clone Wars outfit and everything from battles, and he's like running past Ahsoka, trying to lead a charge against the Separatists.
yeah, just deflecting
Yeah, and
blasts.
clones are going with him, and what's kind of going on here is that Ahsoka is seeing what's happening with the battles, but then we get like a fast forward to the after the battle where all the clones are like the ones that are hurt are being taken care of, and then Anakin's off to the side talking to the generals and commanders and whatnot. And Ahsoka is sympathizing with the ones that were hurt. And I think this is where she's starting to see like this conflict is an issue because my friends are being hurt. Um, just like, with the stuff that was happening in real time where, Ahsoka's trying to do stuff and, Sabine got stabbed at one point. So her friends are getting hurt there too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, and I mean the Jedi are meant to be peacekeepers, right? So Ahsoka is like now being raised under a general. Um, so that's just not really what she signed up for. So she has a lot of conflict going on.
right. And this is the super nerd in me coming out. Because you mentioned that uh they're keepers of the peace. And when this is in I think episode two, I think, of the films, when they're talking about the war that's coming, Mace Windu says, "We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers." And I thought it was super interesting because Anakin said, "Obi-Wan taught me we're keepers of the peace, and now I have to raise you as a soldier." And I was like, wow, that was quite the play on words there.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Right. It's a type of Star Wars poetry that makes sense. Works
Yeah,
very
rhymes, baby. It
yeah,
rhymes.
Star Wars rhymes. Did you
Dang.
who was
Oh, one little thing. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, did you catch who was kind of in the background
Of
of
what? When
the
Anakin walks away?
yeah, well when he's talking with the other group.
The people he was talking to?
Yeah.
No.
There was one guy in a blue suit. I believe that was Captain Rex.
Oh, there's one of the flashbacks where she straight up like talks to him, but he could have been standing there during the first one. I didn't really see him in the first one,
Ah, gotcha.
but I bet he was there. If I like go back and look at it, it would make sense that he was there. Um, no, but I was gonna say, right after Anakin's giving her the really like hard facts, like, hey, you gotta buck up, or you're not gonna make it out here. Like you'll die out here. Like this is the Clone Wars. Um, he walks off, and she just had for 1 minute he just like flashes like one frame of like a silhouette of Darth Vader and a red lightsaber.
Right. Which I thought was awesome. And this
Yeah.
time we get it too. Um,
I was gonna ask you if you think to her looking back, she sees that as the day she saw Anakin start to turn. I don't know, something like that, right? Or
possibly.
she saw like who he could become.
There's definitely a possibility. I never really thought about like if this was very early on in their relationship, I don't know if she could have detected that, but maybe. I
Yeah, it was weird because they're not really the Anakin and Ahsoka that were in that moment. They're this whole time, this is the Ahsoka we know, just in her younger self. So it's kind of weird. And Anakin is also whatever evil Anakin that she has met, and this is, you know, he's also like a flashback version of himself, playing like the same character. Like he's the same character throughout the whole thing.
yeah, he's just kind of like fitting the scene or playing the part.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much like those old Christmas movies, right? Where they like go visit the people while they're dead and they fill in. I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
back to the show. Vader was born that day. But yeah, they're still going on the search party. Jason and Chopper think they know where Ahsoka is. They tell Hera right where to search.
And that's because Jason can hear like different things going on, whether it's the lightsaber clashes. Or basically, my guess is he's basically hearing what's happening with Ahsoka. And
Mhm.
this was a little confusing to me too, because I didn't know if he was just hearing it because, he's becoming one with the Force, or like, was there a portal that wasn't opened, or is he hearing what's going on in her mind based on what we see later? Um, I didn't quite understand why he was hearing or how he could hear it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he seems to be quite gifted in the Force. I think that's why we'll get to this later, but he's trying to sweet talk Hu Yang into training him how to be a Jedi.
Right.
So he tells him no, of course, because Hera's not okay with that. Um,
Funny that he doesn't even sugarcoat it. He's just like, no.
yeah, so Jason's obviously like quite gifted in the Force. Quite the opposite of Sabine, actually. So that's interesting. But yeah, I thought that was so awesome that he could like detect them. Like he was hearing the clash of the lightsaber, like with the waves of the ocean, and he could like tell. He could just feel their presence. I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Why does it make sense? That's a great question. That is a theory for a different part of this video that I presumed, but I think Cetos, this planet, is kind of like a not like a holy place, but like a place where wait, are we having an audio thing?
No, I
Oh, okay.
meant like a sanctuary or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Jedi sanctuary slash like because the Jedi we find out the Jedi kind of knew about this star path. So maybe this place is just like a planet that's kind of I don't know. It's a very like force heavy place, if that makes any sense at all. That's kind of my fan theory right now. But that's I've that working with like Ahsoka being like a spirit type, a, a spirit of the force or something. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm working with right now.
Yeah. I had nothing. So I was no clue with him because, well, I was a little distracted when I was watching the scenes because I had felt that from a writing perspective, I felt like they gave Jason like the very cliche Jedi things to say and not stuff that may have been a little more unique. Like he hasn't had much influence or been around Jedi, so I feel like he might have had a little more uh I don't know if rustic is the word, but basically maybe more broken Jedi language, quote unquote. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems to be
but
things like in the previous episode, I have a bad feeling about this. Like he's getting these
yeah.
Star Wars things to say,
Well, that
but
was just like you get one line, kid. Like what's it gonna be? We got five. We got time for one line at the end of this episode.
right. So I feel like his character is kind of being built that way a little bit, but nothing too,
But I mean, this episode they gave him way more to do.
yeah,
He saved Ahsoka. Like they had to like fish her out of the ocean.
right.
She didn't
Uh,
just come back to life.
yeah. So maybe we should cover some more of what's going on with Ahsoka because we got like to the halfway point.
Yeah, after that, what? There's another Clone Wars flashback, right? But she's older.
Right. And I when I saw this, I was like, oh, they're echoing like season 6 of the Clone Wars, right when it ended. And I thought it was cool that like when Anakin appeared, I was like, now hold on a minute, he wasn't there. What's going on? And he literally says like, I don't remember this, and she
Yeah,
has to explain to him what's going on. So I thought that was cool that they made sure to recognize that you know he wasn't there and he's fully aware of what's going on.
yeah. But she effortlessly takes out some Mandalorians or Maldalorians with the horns.
Right. the Maul sympathizers.
Yeah.
Uh, and we get some interesting stuff here because this so towards the end of this battle, so to speak, when she's talking with Anakin, there's a little bit of tension that's going on here, and Anakin's trying to tell her what is, and she's, being snips, being right back, saying, maybe it's not what it is. And like this is what kind of like makes Anakin very frustrated, very angry. And we see this turn with his face where he like gets the yellow eyes and he gets a little more paled, dark. That doesn't sound right because those are two opposite colors, but his skin changes a little bit of a different tone where it's kind of like a darkish gray tone that the Sith typically get.
Yeah.
Um, and this is where, in my opinion, where it kind of takes off because uh, does he? I don't remember. Does he kick her or like force push her or something? Because she gets like blown back into the world between worlds area.
Yeah, I don't remember how.
Well, so she gets taken out of that
Like,
area. She goes back there, and there's like this smoke that's going on or fog, and Anakin or Vader at this point is walking out of there with a red lightsaber, and we get that flash again of between him and Vader in the suit, which again, super cool attention to detail there.
and it
Uh,
keeps doing it this time.
right. It doesn't just happen once.
Yeah.
So then we get a fight, a very small fight with Vader with a red lightsaber against Ahsoka. Um, and I thought it was pretty interesting because the way that she won was very similar to the way that he took out Dooku.
Yep, the little behind the back thing.
Yeah, and got the hand, and then got a hold of the lightsaber. Um, they do have some dialogue where he's like, "This is where you die. You have no conviction," and then she says, "I choose to live," because that was the whole choice that they were talking about in the first place.
Yep.
Um, and then he goes back to normal Anakin. So this is where more,
Yeah, it was another test because
yeah,
she had won the fight. She could have, finished him, but she threw away the lightsaber.
right. She tossed it over the edge.
I'm
So
not going to kill you, and I'm also not going to die.
right. So I was kind of confused here a little bit. Like this adds more and more questions to the whole Anakin thing of like, what is this? Is it just a force entity or something?
He's just the Force ghost of Christmas past. He's just coming to see Ahsoka in her afterlife to help
Must,
her get over her insecurities about her master being a really bad guy for a long portion of his life. Um, and she doesn't want to end up like him.
right. Yeah. And so once we kind of get all that good stuff and he turns back to good, that's the end of her training there for the episode. And then that's when Jason, like you mentioned before, is mentioning, you have to fly lower to get closer to the water and the ocean. And then they eventually find Ahsoka in the water, which that was one of my questions from earlier was, you know, is she in the world between worlds or is it like a dream? Like you said, this might be like a force entity on the planet or whatever, and maybe that's causing some things to like be different than normal.
Yeah,
Um,
for all we know, this was all in her head, and she was
right,
just like out in the ocean. Who
right.
knows?
I don't know. It's because I was like, where's the portal? Like, where would she have been pulled out of? And there was nothing.
Yeah, yeah. So there's some details left out, a few of them.
Right.
Maybe we'll get those details. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. So this is like about that 2/3 of the way through the episode, and everybody comes together. You know, Hera and Jason, and I don't remember the rebel pilot's name. The dude
Carson.
it's what
Carson.
Arson. So they're all together trying to figure out, and um, basically Hera is finding out that she's in trouble. The New Republic is threatening to take away her credibility in the system, like take away being a general and all that, because she doesn't have any proof of Thrawn. She doesn't have any proof of anything that they ask her about. And they basically say, you know, if you don't come to Coruscant for this trial where we're basically going to determine whether you can stay or not, well, then you're out, kind of a thing. And I thought it was interesting because they actually name dropped General Organa when they were.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, I think that's Leia that they're talking about. We never see her, but 'cause I don't know how long Bail Organa lived. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not positive.
My guess is that was Leia they were talking about. Trying to think of where they went next. So they got in trouble. Oh,
Well, she
they
wakes up.
yeah, Ahsoka wakes up, and there's a thing going on here too that I didn't know if it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing for Dave Filoni or not, for the fans that know. But when she leaves the ship, she's wearing a white, like tapestry, gown, poncho, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, she's got some cloth going on.
Do you think that that is a callback to the end of Rebels season 4 when she kind of has like the like white cloak?
Yes and no. It gets better though, right? By the end of the episode, isn't she wearing like the full thing, but just improved, perhaps, or maybe not with the full cloak, you know? She's got some partial cloaks going on,
Yeah, some partial cloaks.
but she'll get a full one day, I believe.
She'll find the right supermarket.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so they regroup. The New Republic actually sends some ships out to detain them and bring them back. But there is something going on the planet.
Yeah.
Also to
They
cover what's going on there.
yeah, well, they still don't know what happened to Sabine. So, since they find Ahsoka, now she's awake after they say it's been like one rotation. Um, Ahsoka is able to, I forget the name of this ability, but basically she's able to walk out to the center of the little circle that they were fighting on before, the same one that had the map, and she's able to kind of hold the map and she's able to kind of like use the force to kind of go back to that moment in time. And she is able to get all the dirty details basically. So she knows Sabine betrayed her, and handed the map over to Balin willingly. And um, the good news is Sabine is alive. So the bad news is there's only one other option, which I actually had this as like a sleeper theory because it makes so much sense, right? Because like, how on earth did Ezra get there in the first place? All the whales. Well, what have we seen a million times already around this planet? All the whales. So what are they gonna do? They're doing a little whale journey, little whale talking. Call up Dory.
That's what I was thinking about too. I was like, is she gonna talk like Dory here, where she's talking to the whales?
Yeah. So just like Ezra, Ahsoka communicates with the Purgle, the space whales, and it seems like they're gonna take her out of there. Not even to where she wants to go. They're just gonna take her somewhere. Kuyang's like asking her what's going on. You know how the conversation with the whales went, and he says, "Are they gonna take us to Sabine?" She says, "I don't know." We're just going somewhere, and that's better than nowhere.
Yeah, it's better than being detained.
That's good life advice, you know. We're going somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, they're heading in a random place with the Purgles. Uh, I was talking to Sarah about this when we uh, after we were done with the episode, and I kind of wondered, we have 3 episodes left, and they're going, in a random direction with the Purgles. Do you think? I don't think they're gonna go straight to where Ezra and Thrawn are. I think that would be too simple. Do you think they're going to take an episode to go to a random place in the galaxy and explore that galaxy a little bit and then get some information on where Sabine and them are? Or do you think they're just going to go straight to it?
That's a great question. Something is telling me these whales somehow know exactly where to go, but I could see, I could see the world where they don't meet up the next episode. I was going to ask you about that too, like what you thought, because we still don't know. We took this entire episode and we never saw where this ring ends up.
Right.
So,
We
uh,
seen Thrawn.
yeah, five in. We're five in, baby.
It's still on the table where the final shot of the season could be him.
Yeah, it could 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Perfect.
Right. Yeah, I think if they don't do a straight shot there, I think it would be cool to see what's going on with this galaxy, maybe see what other threats are out there.
We're allies.
Yeah, or allies. Yeah, who knows? And then go and see Sabine and them. But then that would leave 2 episodes to wrap everything up, and I don't really know. Maybe the end of the season is Thrawn coming back to our galaxy, and then we have to wait. I don't
Till
know.
the movie.
Yeah, until the movie. I could be wrong, but I think they were wanting to squeeze in one more season of Ahsoka, but I could be wrong. I
It's
don't remember.
possible. I don't
Uh,
know. I think it's gonna be wildly successful. I don't know. Maybe this is like the Clone Wars in me, but I don't know. I just don't think you like had to know anything about the Clone Wars to get those scenes. Like they just like I think Anakin and Ahsoka just like those scenes are just so well done.
yeah, I think they told you what you needed to know. My one big criticism with the first one, the one where Anakin's charging and like deflecting all the laser blasts. My biggest criticism is that it was like basically a super big fog, like dusty and sand or whatever, and we really never saw much of a battle. We just saw people charging because I don't think we even saw any droids in that scene. So I thought it was appropriate for television because of lower budget, but I would have wanted a little more substance there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It would have been nice to see like some of the actual like a little bit more of the battle, but it seemed like they were at a part of the battle where they were just kind of evacuating anyway. Like they were just getting out of there, running for the hills. But yeah, I know what you're saying. They were just kind of running in a straight line.
Yeah. Probably my what I think is the best part or one of the best parts of the episode is my goodness, the de-aging on Hayden Christensen. I felt like he looked almost exactly like episode 3. It was on point.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Um, the even the flashbacks, I think they did really good with that as well. Like they were able to match up like when he, you know, they kept changing his hair. They he paid attention to all the little details.
Also, I I know from the past, like when the prequels were coming out, people were just bagging on Hayden Christensen for
Yeah.
and I thought his performance, especially when he was turning, like when she was getting snippy with him,
Yeah,
I
in the second flashback.
I thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he was like falling right back into the role. Like he is Anakin Skywalker and he knows it.
Yeah.
And I really liked that when you could see the anger coming across his face of like this little thing right here. you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, oh, there was one line in the beginning too where it's in their first conversation. Ahsoka is asking him, what is this place? Where are we? What's going on? Um, and he says, there was a fight. You lost. I immediately thought, uh-oh, this is like Darth Vader. This is like the Darth Vader somehow from like Rebels. Like he knows she got away somehow.
Oh, that would have been kind of cool too. Not gonna.
Yeah,
So thinking about that too, like after the Siege of Mandalore scene, and they go back to the world between worlds, um, or as we believe it to be, uh,
yeah,
doing that cut back and forth between him and the Vader suit. I thought they were gonna stay on the Vader suit this time
I
and
did too.
from Rebels, but I didn't think of like the extension that you said, where this was basically his way of getting back at her. That would have been kind of cool.
But I still like how they did it with the red lightsaber. It was really good. Like maybe not the absolute best like lightsaber fight we've ever seen, but it was really good. Um, like I said, like the move where she actually wins the fight, they do like a cool, like I like the choice that they made. They go for like I don't know. It sounds like mean here because I'm gonna say they go for a fun camera, angle uh, for the swap, but it's to like see how I don't know. It gets across like what's being done
Right.
in the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish the lightsaber fights were a little bit longer.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, we saw him and Kenobi and doing some fights there too, but you know, when we think of like Anakin fights, the big one that comes to mind is the one from Mustafar, and that was like a 15-minute fight. I know we can't really do that here in the television episodes, but I
Well,
and I want more of that fighting. And I think they did a pretty good job of, keeping his fighting style the same and being able to see that visually. The only thing that I really didn't agree with, and again, it's probably just being a super nerd, I don't remember in the past, and like when Anakin fights, I don't remember him ever doing like a stabbing motion. Like,
yeah, it seemed like it didn't seem like he was going all out, if I'm being honest. Like he wasn't going 100%. He was going like 70%. That is what makes me think that this was not like really Anakin. This was like Ahsoka's force memory of Anakin that's like confronting her as she's on death row. Like,
I feel like that is a more plausible answer to what's going on.
yeah,
Because, like I said, if Anakin knew about the world between worlds, I think a lot of other things would have been much different.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Man, she finds the biggest whale of the whole whale herd. Or I'm sorry, it's a pod.
And they sit inside its mouth.
Um,
You think
and
though,
it's even got the whale whiskers, the little teeth.
yeah, from Finding Nemo,
Yeah,
you think they're gonna be blowing out the blowhole when they get to their destination
that's a good question. I have no idea.
with some space water?
No idea. We'll see what happens. Hey, Ahsoka said, I'm gonna find them. You know what that means. We get Ezra. When we get Sabine again, we get Ezra probably, which we
Hopefully.
always kind of thought was the case. But
I'm curious to see if there's one thing that I'm curious to see the rest of the way, it's what happens to Balin. Just because we know about the actor's passing, are they gonna, is the character supposed to stick around, or what's gonna come of that? So
yeah.
that's my biggest question mark right now. Also, Thrawn. Are we gonna see?
Well, think about this. Like, what if he is so. No, he seems like he would keep it. Like, do you think he's going to keep his word with Sabine? Or do you think, like, they're going to show up and then he's going to. Like, so far, it seems like he's pretty honorable, but you don't think he's going to just lock her up as soon as they get to where Thrawn is?
He might lock her up. I thought his word was that he wouldn't hurt her.
Oh, maybe that's. Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. I guess she's always kind of like been a prisoner, right? But
Aren't we all? No.
yeah, I guess. Um, yeah.
So that about covers the episode. Trying to think if there's any other nitpick things I had or things that I really liked. I did like seeing the red lightsaber in the fight. I thought that was a cool touch. Especially since really the only time before that we got to see that was like an alternate ending in the Revenge of the Sith video game, where it plays out what would have happened if Anakin would have won the fight on Mustafar. So it was kind of cool to see this red lightsaber in live action and actually a part of, the Star Wars universe. Um, I like the flashbacks, and I really like the attention to detail on Anakin's character. I think Dave did a great job with that.
Yeah, he was really good.
Was there anything else you wanted to mention about the episode?
Uh, just the title, Shadow Warrior.
What do you think that was talking about?
It has to be Anakin.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it has to be him. Um, there was something else. I can't remember what it was in the episode, but I feel like he had said something to her about you can't be like hiding in the shadows or something. And
Yeah.
we think that she could have been the Shadow Warrior. Um,
Oh, maybe like she's Anakin's shadow. Like, yeah, she doesn't want to be a representation of what he was. Like, she wants to be different.
yeah, I kind of wondered about that, but it probably makes more sense to be Anakin. I don't know. But yeah, the episode name, like you said, was Shadow Warrior for this one. They seem to, have some sort of, uh, I would say, symbolic connections to what's going on in the episode. So it's always like kind of, what do we think? Does it actually mean? But that was our talk on the fifth episode. We are looking forward to episode six, uh, and seven and eight, of course. But
Gotta know.
I don't know about you, but I felt like the cliffhanger wasn't as big as the one but from last week. But I am curious to see what happens next. Like, what is this galaxy going to look like? Where are they going to end up?
Yeah, I mean, we really got two options. Well, technically, we have a third option, but they're not going to do it.
What's the third option?
The third option is we see what Hera's up to with the New Republic because they're mad at her because she disobeyed orders. Blah blah blah. We're not gonna find out about that. Maybe we will. We probably will by the end of the season. But um, and then they'll be like, "Oh, sorry, Hera, you were right the whole time." Anyway, we have two options for how this next one starts. We find out where the big space ring is, or we find out where the whales are, or both. I guess there's four options. Crap, I'm really bad at adding these up.
Have more and more good ideas, Austin. Give yourself some credit.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm excited either way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I really want I don't think this is going to happen either, but I really hope that there's more to what's going on with Anakin. Um, the reason why I have a little bit of wondering if he might show up again is because there was a preview where he was talking to her and he was saying something like, I have to prepare you. And I don't think what he said in the trailer was exactly what was in the episode. So maybe there's more, but
Okay.
and they even there was a huge rumored scene where they were supposed to go to Mustafar too, and that it was cut. So maybe that was cut. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's more. Like maybe because we still don't know what Thrawn is gonna do. Like, do you think he's just gonna show up and then they're gonna be like, oh no, Thrawn, you better, you're locked up. Like, and then the season ends. Or like, is Thrawn gonna come back like with a plan, like with a purpose?
I think he's going to come back with a purpose, and
That's I
I would
agree.
I would also go on to say that he might make a statement, like destroy something that's really vital to the New Republic, and then the season ends, like just to show how much of a baddie he is going into possibly season two or the next movie, whatever ends up being.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so that was our talk on episode 5. If you enjoyed this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We will be covering the episode next week and the weeks to come. So come back and check us out. Drop us a like if you liked the video, and drop us a comment letting us know your thoughts on episode 5 and what your interpretations were of what was going on with Anakin. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.